What's up, Milledgeville? This is Isaiah Smith coming to you with your favorite sports podcast. With Chris Lambert here to my left, we got the Three and Out podcast again for you guys this week. Week 3 of the show, we got more big things coming for you guys this week. Really excited for what we got on this docket here, I guess. We had some big stories this week with Colin in.
Yeah, heading into spring break, so we're going to get out of here a little quicker than usual. We're both ready to get on the road. I know Isaiah's leaving right when we get done, and I've got 2 classes tomorrow, but trust me, as soon as class is over, I'm out of here. So let's get started.
Got a big date in Charlotte this weekend. Headed up to watch my Carolina Tar Heels take on Lipscomb, I think, in the first round. Hopefully get to the second round, see either Providence or Texas A&M. So really excited for that with some buzz from home. So let's go ahead and jump in with first down. How about it?
All right, this is a weird story coming out this week. Something we've been following for a little bit. Finally got some investigative stuff on it over at the Colonnade. But Sassy Cats took second at the Peach Belt Spirit Dance Championships without an advisor. So they're technically a club team. So they have a faculty advisor or a school advisor, not technically a head coach. And that was Doris Henderson. And she, midway through the season, decided to part ways with the team. Just something that you don't see a lot out of. We interviewed the head of Rec Sports, Bert Rosenberger, and he told us, we see a lot of turnover in these club sports because they're not like not a terribly demanding position, and just a lot of turnover usually, but not in the middle of the year like that. So what do you make of that, Isaiah?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely an odd situation. Like you said, the coach, I use air quotes when I say coach, is technically an advisor, has no real power, I guess. And with a lot of these club sports, like you said, you a lot of times see the students actually calling a lot of the shots and making a lot of the decisions at the top. And I think it's really, first of all, I mean, hats off to them. For a lot of these people are doing, they're organizing the team and getting people together, making sure they plan practice and things like that. I mean, kind of double as a player coach, but also they do all the administrative tasks and things like that. And with the Sassy Cats, the case with them, I think they said their coach quit, I think the Thursday before they went to the conference championships, the conference spirit championships. So, I mean, my hat's off to them, to the team, to the captains, the girls who stepped up and made decisions and kind of took it upon themselves to make sure they could still go, because it would have been really easy for them to fold, for them to not just say, we're not going to go. We don't have anybody in charge. We don't have an adult with us. How are we going to get this done? But they really, took it upon themselves, got uniforms together, got in touch with the cheerleading coach who kind of acted as an advisor in that role for them. But really, I mean, my hat's off to the girls on the team, the ladies on the team. They did a great job. They represented Georgia College well. I think it was at USC Aiken. Is that correct? Yeah, represented Georgia College well. Took second. Would have loved to have seen first, but given the situation, I think second is definitely a commendable way to come in there if you're them.
Yeah, we tried to get in touch with Coach Henderson. Like we said, we'll use Coach loosely in this instance, but we couldn't get a hold of her. The captain of the Sassy Cats team, Jennifer Harris, is a sophomore, and we spoke with her briefly, and she's got some personal stuff going on. Coach Henderson does, but we don't know the details of that, so she wasn't really present for a lot of the stuff. So when it got to that point where she felt like she was being sort of superseded by Harris and some of the older people on the team making some executive decisions, she took some offense to that and decided to call it quits. Something we see a lot in club sports is, as Bert Rosenberger said, you spend some of your own personal money and then you get reimbursed by the club or from the school. That's not typically, that's not a weird thing that happens. She bought the uniforms with her own money, and so when she parted ways with the team, she kept them, and the Sassy Cats didn't have uniforms, and they had a tough time getting hold of the uniforms, so they got in touch with the cheerleading coach and were able to get that handled. And then, they got to the tournament, and some of the coach hadn't apparently filled out some of the proper paperwork, so they almost didn't even compete. So getting from that handled to placing second, I think really says a lot about this team, and hopefully they'll take on some first here in the next few years.
Yeah, definitely. Hats off to them for this year. Hope to see them, improve going forward. I mean, there's very little improvement I think that can be made. But I mean, this is what sports is about. I think you see seeing the team come together. Sports, especially team sports like this. It's you have star players and star individuals a lot of times, but I mean, when you see a team rally together like this and come together, I think it's what sports is about. It's the best part of sports, or one of the best parts of sports. For me, it's kind of why I love this time of year, love March Madness. You see a lot of teams come together and really take ownership and take leadership for the product they're putting out and for what they're trying to get done and accomplish for the season and reach their goals. So moving forward here, going to move to second down, kind of moving on to that leadership, staying on the leadership train here,
Yep.
but second story we did kind of talked about the ideal leader at Georgia College, and we talked to a lot of different coaches. I believe we talked to Coach Crumdyke, the volleyball coach, talked to a couple others as well, and kind of asked them what their ideal leader or who their ideal leader was and what that really looked like in that position. So what did you see there, Chris?
This is a story I wanted to do for some time because, being, a liberal arts college and in the Peach Belt, you think liberal arts, you don't usually think athletics, but Georgia College competes at a very high level and within the Peach Belt. We're constantly competing for championships and a multitude of sports. So, that doesn't just happen overnight. You foster a culture, you foster a program, and that takes leaders to do that. So we wanted to speak with just some coaches and see what they had to say. And Emmy Cooper wrote the story, did a great job for us. Spoke with Steve Barsby, who coaches both the men's and the women's tennis teams, and interesting take from Coach Barsby. They don't name a captain. He kind of lets he one of his quotes. I don't think everybody's meant to be a captain, so he lets the season progress and the cream rises to the top as far as leadership goes. And he named senior Gina Kelly, who was the All PBC second team doubles player last year for the Bobcats, and she's the one who rose to that challenge. And different qualities that people look for, across the gambit. Coach Hope Clark from the women's soccer team, she named about 3 different players from, Amanda Bartholomew and then Savannah Duvall and Ani Manicelli. There's a couple different people that all step up to be captains. They might not necessarily be named captains, but everyone knows who they are. They're respected. And one thing I found interesting, all the coaches, didn't depend on what sport, whether it was men's or women's sports, that consistency, it didn't matter if you were loud or, more lead by example type person, but the fact that you could bring it each and every day and you were going 100% each and every day and that was consistent and did not change this semester, that was the thing that, coaches like to identify as that commitment to the team and their commitment to get better. And it didn't matter what sport you were playing. That's the kind of thing coaches value, and it shows in the success of the teams.
Yeah, definitely. I think with every team, you have different ways leadership works. With the volleyball team, for example, Coach Crumduck talked about they have different people who lead in different ways. She named Chandler Ulson kind of the team mom type, gonna take care of everyone, really make sure everyone's doing their job. But she's also there for you, kind of that type of leader. Kayla Brockway, more the quiet, lead by example type of leader. She has several records, to her name in the Georgia College volleyball record books as a setter. And we talked about her a little bit last week. She's a phenomenal volleyball player. And then finally, Taylor Savela. She's more outspoken, more vocal, but still, I think you need that. You need somebody who can rally the troops when they need to, light that fire under people, and kind of get after people a little bit when they're noticeably underperforming and they can do better. They're just kind of slacking. But also, I think, Coach Clark, the soccer coach, she summed it up really well when she said she preaches to her players that it's their team. And I think when you see players taking that accountability and taking it upon themselves that it is truly their team, kind of like we saw with the Sassy Cats, it was kind of, I don't know if they wanted to take it upon themselves, but it was at the end of the day their team. But when you see players take that ownership of the product they're putting out as far as producing on the field or on the court or wherever they may be playing and competing, when players do that and start buying into that idea and start taking that extra responsibility and accountability, that's when you see teams and programs start taking off. And the soccer team, I think they're on the cusp right there. They're almost there. They were 11-6 overall last year, 7-3 in the conference, and so they're looking to take that next step, get into the NCAA tournament, and really take off. I think we have a couple of programs at Georgia College like that. We have the volleyball program, I think, is about to take off. Women's basketball
right there.
is in a very, very good position. Baseball, we see that. We didn't get a chance to talk to Coach Eller, but I'm sure he would say that that's one of the things that is good about this team is that they take accountability of it. And when you have that, you start seeing that lifelong program pride and school pride and guys coming back because they still feel that we put so much of us into this program, we're still a part of it. And I think at the end of the day, it's what you want. That's one of the best parts I think about sports and team sports especially is you get to something. If you put all of yourself into it when you're there, you can always kind of go back and see maybe where you were. You see where it grew to. You see the foundation you laid for the next group to build on, and I think that's awesome personally.
Yeah, one thing we talk about here at 3 and Out is the culture around sports and what we talk about, whether it's with recruiting or conference play. There's always a culture that coaches want to establish when they get here and keep it going, so that when players come here out of high school or year to year, there's an expectation, and that expectation is set and then carried on by the leaders from the team. So I think we saw that this week.
Yeah, definitely. And this story kind of goes hand in hand with Georgia College's new motto or slogan. I think they debuted it not too long ago, but it's think independently, lead creatively. And so I think there's space for that in sports, to think independently and then be a creative leader. I think there's no cookie cutter way to lead in any sport. It's different for whatever the team needs and whatever that player's personality is. So I think we see that definitely with all these teams here at Georgia College. So, but moving on to third down here, last story we're going to talk about for the week. Jordan Thomas was named Peach Belt Conference Freshman of the Year, the second Bobcat to win the award in 3 years, I believe. His teammate Isaac Thomas won it a couple of seasons ago, and now Jordan Thomas has won the award. So just tell me what you thought about this story. And, he's got a unique story, I think, for this season anyway.
Yeah, not what we thought, where we would see Thomas in this role. He came in as a shooting guard, and then starting point guard Desmond Mitchell-Laflamme went down in the fourth game with a broken ankle. Didn't see him the rest of the year. So he moved from that two spot to the point guard position, which honestly, if you look at him on paper, might suit him better. He came from Heritage High School, where he was a 1,000 career point guy, 2-time All-Region first team. So this guy has been a baller his whole high school career, but maybe a little undersized at 6'1" for shooting guard. So we'll see. Maybe he'll move back to that position, that two spot next year. But transitioned pretty well into the one, playing the one and leading the floor for the Bobcats. Led the team in minutes and points, 13.7 points a game, 32.4 minutes, and Coach Gaines told us there was multiple times he played 40 minutes a game. So coming as a freshman in that good of a shape, that shows a lot of commitment on his part. So he came in ready to play and was in great shape going forward.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I thought Caroline Snyder, who wrote this article, did a very good job just kind of getting all that information in there and talking about that. But leading the team in scoring as a freshman, leading the team in minutes per game as a freshman as well is no small feat, especially when you do it after changing positions. And he talked about that he struggled a little bit when he first made the switch. But I think overall this is going to be good for him. I mean, he's still got 3 years here at Georgia College, and to have that experience, not only playing the point guard position, but kind of having to be a floor general and be a leader and step up. That's the theme of the show today, I think, is leadership. Yep. But step up and be the leader, because, I mean, in basketball today, more than ever, I think it's a guard-oriented game, and you got to have kind of a rock star at that point guard position to really get where you want to be if you have aspirations of winning a conference championship, national championship, and things like that. So even though the men didn't make it into the NCAA tournament this year, I think they have a solid foundation. They have some nice youth. Andrew Prestwood, another guy who contributed this year. Isaac Thomas will be back. Cole Roberts, I think, is also going to be returning next season. So it bodes well for this team to have Jordan Thomas kind of leading the pack and, being able to play the point guard spot and move over and play the two. I think Coach Gaines said he's going to go back to the two next year. Is that correct? Okay, so he's going to go back to the two, but having two ball handlers and guys who can do that, it just helps your roster to have
nothing but help.
Yeah, have that on the floor at all times. So I mean, I don't know how he likes being the point guard, but it definitely is going to help him mature as a player. And Coach Gaines said he's a natural scorer. So to have that ability to handle the ball and then turn around and take it to the hole and get buckets and do things like that it just makes the team better, I think.
Yeah, one thing I did like from him, he shot 30% from three, which we'll take. Maybe see it a little bit higher, but 36% from the field, not terribly high. And Coach Gaines did talk about if we can get him shooting, 45-50% from the field, he's really going to be dangerous. And, one thing I don't think we did a very good job of, and Coach Gaines will be the first to tell you this, we didn't shoot threes very well. Last basketball season, the Bobcats did not do a good job from beyond the arc of it. Thomas does seem to have that ability, as we said earlier. He's a natural scorer and shot pretty well, so hopefully that translates, and maybe we can work on that going forward.
Yeah, definitely going to be a bit of an adjustment period, I think, for him to come from playing on the ball so much this year and move to playing off the ball a little bit more. There's always that adjustment period, I think, when guys do that and move from being either off the ball to having to be on the ball and vice versa. So, I mean, but I do think he's going to find some minutes at point guard, just that experience, especially if you're bringing someone new in who maybe doesn't know the system as well, or maybe is a freshman and doesn't understand the pace and how intense the game will be at the college level. I think we can expect to see Thomas get some minutes next basketball season at the one and really kind of be a leader for the Bobcats and lead this team hopefully into the NCAA tournament where they have not been in a while.
Yeah. All right, we're going to move on to extra fourth down. We got two topics for fourth down. I'm going to spring this one on Isaiah. We talked about one earlier, but I'm going to spring a new one on him. We got Tiger Woods in second place after the Honor Palm Invitational today. Any big thoughts on Tiger?
I'm just excited for it, to be completely honest with you. I mean, Tiger is good for golf. He's like the blue bloods in basketball. He's like Carolina basketball, like Duke basketball for college basketball. He's like Notre Dame is for football in Texas and USC and Alabama and those type of programs. He's good for golf, and he brings eyes to the sport, makes people want to watch. The 44-foot putt last weekend, that was the moment people have been wanting to see and holding their breath for, and now they have that moment they can hold on to. So the next moment is going to be him probably sinking a putt or, icing a tournament or getting the trophy and winning a tournament. And that's going to be the next moment people are waiting for. But seeing him go out, play the full tournament, finish second, have an impressive showing like that last weekend, that was the kind of mini moment that people were waiting for. Now they're going to hang on to that. And I know I'm personally hanging on to it because I'm a Tiger fan, and I want to see him be good and see him succeed again at the level he was at previously.
Yeah, I had to go to church when he started the back nine last Sunday. At the Valspar Open, and I got out of church. I checked my phone. He had just got on 18. The leader was in the clubhouse at 10 under. He had just birdied 17 to get within one shot of the lead, so he had a chance to tie and force a playoff with Paul Casey and hit that 44-foot putt to get within one. And then I got to the brick. I sprinted to the brick right out of church, and I was, oh my God, I'm so excited just to have him back in action because it's been so long where we've. Oh, yeah, Tigers, I'm feeling good. My game's feeling a lot better. I just want to be able to put it all together. Then he'll go out and play 2 rounds. His back flare up, and he's out for another year and a half. So it's nice, like you said, to see him play 4 full rounds and place well, and now he's back in contention again. And to say nothing for the fact that the Masters are 2 weeks away. So, all eyes are going to be on him going into the tournament if he can stay healthy.
Yeah, I don't know what it is to get into the Masters to get a ticket in, but I know it's not going to be cheap.
No.
But moving on here, last little bit here, we're going to talk NCAA tournament. That's raging right now. Saw a great couple of games earlier, and looking forward to some great games going forward. But we're going to give you guys our picks for the Final Four and who we think our national champion is going to be in the spirit of March Madness. So, Chris, I'll let you lead off.
All right, I got University of Virginia and Gonzaga squaring off in the first Final Four game, and I got UVA winning that game, and then I have Villanova and Kansas in the next game, and Kansas winning that game. So a UVA-Kansas final. And then I have UVA winning the final 77-74. So a bold pick. UVA more defensive team than offensive, definitely. And I would be surprised if they explode anytime offensively. But I really think that they're going to progress through the tournament if they can get some wins because they're so efficient defensively. They led the country in defensive efficiency, and they don't give up very many points. But I do think if they get into a spot where they're pressed for points and they're playing good defense, I think they can go back and forth for a little bit and go on some runs there in the championship against Kansas.
It's a respectable pick. I like that. Not my pick, though. My Final Four, I got North Carolina and Arizona facing off in the first semifinal there. I got Arizona in that one, even though I'm a Carolina guy. Objectively, I got to take Arizona and DeAndre Ayton because that size, I think, is going to give North Carolina trouble. They'll be able to mask it a little bit in the first few rounds, but when they get there, I think your weaknesses are definitely magnified, and it's whoever can overcome them the quickest and get that job done. And I don't think Carolina will be able to overcome the lack of size because you just can't teach it, and there's not a lot you can do to make up for it. But in the other semifinal, I got Michigan State and Villanova. I'm going to take Michigan State in that one. I really like Michigan State. I thought they were the most talented team coming into this season with Miles Bridges, Jaren Jackson, and some of those other guys, and I still think they're going to put it together and make a nice run here in this tournament. And so in the final, I got Arizona, Michigan State. I'm going to take Michigan State on Miles Bridges. I think he could potentially be one of the best players coming out this year. Really like him coming back to school for the second year and working on his game that way. I know he's going to be a lottery pick if everything works out, barring injury or anything like that. I really like Michigan State, like Tom Izzo. I think the interesting fact about this final is you're going to have 2 teams that kind of undergone a little bit of scandal this year with the pay for play, and then Michigan State with the Larry Nassar incident and sexual assault there. So definitely they're going to come out and going to want to try to vindicate themselves and say, hey, we did this on our own, honestly. So really looking forward to the tournament and seeing how that plays out. But also another little tidbit before we get off with you guys here. Charleston's head coach, they're playing Auburn. Charleston's playing Auburn in the first round, but their head coach from Charleston, Earl Grant, actually played for Georgia College in 2000 on the team that went to the Elite Eight, played with Coach Mayweather, the women's assistant basketball coach. So an interesting tidbit there. So if you're looking for an underdog, a Cinderella maybe to root for, if you don't have yours picked out yet, go ahead and root for Charleston. I know I am. Best of luck to Coach Grant. Hopefully we can potentially maybe be able to work that into to the show here a little more as the weeks go on.
Yeah, a little Bobcat connection. And, if he's not able to pull it out, I've got a couple of friends who've got Georgia State going all the way. So
I like that.
We'll see how that goes.
It's very respectable. But thank you guys for listening. Went a little over today, but nonetheless, we hope you guys enjoy it. Let us know if there's anything you want to hear, any changes or suggestions you have. Feel free to reach out to me and Chris. We're open books, and so we're always willing to take suggestions, and we're still learning at this. So once again, thank you guys for listening. Have a great spring break. Be safe. No episode next week, but we'll have one the Thursday we get back from spring break, so look out for that. But for now, I'm Isaiah.
I'm Chris. Have a good one, guys.